Hey, today I'm on the Upper East Side. I'm currently standing at the corner of 79th Street and Madison Avenue, and I'm talking to voters about the New York City elections, of course. This is a deep Cuomo zone, so we'll see what people think about him running as an independent in the general election.
On my way to babysit a child.
Oh, amazing.
Never met before, so this is a nice little buffer.
Okay, okay.
I go into the childcare wild. Yes.
Do you live in this area? Or?
No, I live on the west side, uptown, Hamilton Heights, yeah.
Cool. So, what are your thoughts on the New York City election?
I am a Florida voter. I feel like they need my votes more down there. But I was just telling you, I literally had a dream last night that Zoran won, and me and my friends were like chasing after the crowds to try to get a picture of him. That was literally in my dream last night. Zoran, I love you. He's the people's Pookie, and I really hope he wins because I would be frightened if he didn't. As a Jewish person, I would be a little frightened if he didn't.
Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. I just think there's a lot of ridiculous rhetoric circling around this town, and I think we really need some people who are not only leading with dignity domestically, but also have beliefs, or I guess also believe in the dignity of people globally. The Palestinian people.
Okay, cool. Is there anything else you want to add?
Everyone who's not a Florida voter, everyone who votes in New York, please vote for Pookie Zoran. I love you. And hopefully my dream becomes a reality, New York. Please.
What's your name? I'm Megan, by the way.
I'm Lucas. Nice to meet you, Megan.
Nice to meet you. And you're an Upper East Side resident?
Sure am, yeah. I actually live a block away from here.
Awesome. So we're talking about the New York City election. What are your thoughts so far?
This is, in my 10 years of living in New York, one of the most consequential and interesting elections that I've personally have seen.
Are you leaning toward any candidates?
I am not currently. I'm still undecided.
Okay, what are you undecided on?
To be honest, it's more so doing research. I mean, it's a new face versus more of an incumbent, and definitely doing more research on the newer player in the space. That makes sense, and understanding more about their policies and what can actually get passed versus maybe what will not get passed.
Okay, so for you, it's all about, like, can this person actually implement the things that...
Exactly. That's spot on, yeah.
So in terms of, like, the things that you've heard about the candidates so far, what's your initial impression? It seems like people have usually, like, strong feelings between, let's say, Zoran Mamdani versus, like, Eric Adams or Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah, sorry, the dog coming here. That's a really interesting example. So for me, sorry, my dog, there we go. So definitely to me, we've seen Cuomo, we've seen Eric Adams. Mamdani is very interesting, and he brings a lot of like fresh energy, and it feels like he's bringing a lot of new people who maybe haven't voted in previous elections or weren't as interested in previous elections to mobilize and vote, which is super, super inspiring. Hey, big guy. Sorry about that. He's very tree-oriented. And understanding a bit more as to, what are they actually going to pass, what they're actually going to do. So to me, it's more so educating myself on the newer individual, Mamdani in this case, versus potentially kind of leaning back on something we've already seen in the past.
What's the most important issue to you as a New Yorker?
Ooh, that is a good question. I think it's a combination of like public safety and affordability. Those are oftentimes two of the things I think about the most. I think prices have obviously skyrocketed quite a bit since the pandemic, and even before then. And obviously, I think for any community you live in, safety is obviously important. But understanding the best way to getting that, whether it's social workers, more police, or something else.
Cool. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, I love living in New York, and I hope whatever candidate wins can do the best for the city, and I hope we can all rally around them.
So I'm a poll worker, and I found the election to be a little confusing. The newspaper, I read the New York Times every day, and there's like nothing really in the newspaper about the election before the primary. And even when I went in to vote myself, there were a whole bunch of issues. Delegates for some judicial stuff that I had never heard of and had no idea. And it's like, wow, and I think of myself as a fairly informed human being. I left it blank. I didn't have a clue. And a lot of people had trouble with that election because I voided out a lot of ballots that were messed up. On the mayoral thing, I mean, there's a Democratic candidate and there's Curtis Sliwa. You've got to be kidding. So it's not really no.
You've got two independent or maybe if Walden is still in, but
I haven't given that any thought at all.
Cuomo, Adams as independents?
No, not at all. No. Not at all. I will absolutely vote for the Democratic candidate some people freak out about him being radical and Muslim, and this is ridiculous. He's not. Sorry, just waiting for that. So I think the whole process is awkward. But
So do you think ranked choice voting added to any confusion, or you're just saying that people didn't know about the other races that were going on in New York?
the ranked choice voting, I think, leads to some confusion for some people. But since we don't all get our information from one source anymore, I mean, I got tons and tons and tons of things in the mail, just flyers. And that's that's where I got my information. But honestly, I looked at the voter guide that came in the mail and I made my decision based on that.
Did you happen to read the New York Times? They kind of did this like non-endorsement their piece on Mamdani versus Cuomo.
If I read it, I don't recall.
Okay, yeah, never mind. That's okay. Do you have any other thoughts on the election?
I don't really. New York always votes Democratic. I like the idea of open primaries that are not party based, because I had on my table as a poll worker, I had 30 people come in and try and vote in the primary, and they were not registered for a major party, and we gave them affidavit ballots because they wanted to vote. And I think everyone should be able to vote.
Awesome. Oh yeah, what's your top issue as a New Yorker?
Oh. Probably housing costs. Yeah. Yeah, housing costs.
Cool. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
What are your thoughts on this New York City election?
I think it's really interesting. I definitely think it was an important year that everyone really got involved in. I think overall, all the candidates were very interesting to me, but I personally voted for Mamdani. I think that all candidates have their pros and cons in terms of like experience, but I think that overall New York knew which direction it wanted to go based on what was happening kind of federally and wanting to go more progressive, which I think is a good thing for the city.
So when you say going federally, do you mean like going against Trump policies? Okay. What is the top issue to you as a voter?
Probably financial, economic issues.
And how did you hear about Zohran Mamdani's campaign?
Definitely mainly social media. I think Instagram, TikTok, that's mainly where I personally saw his marketing. In terms of television, I didn't see anything there. But I think he did a good job of running a campaign that was very thorough in terms of outreach to the youth.
And do you live in the Upper East Side area?
Yes.
So this is a really deep Cuomo zone. A lot of people voted for him. Did you notice that your peers were voting for Cuomo as well, or do you think it was like a generational difference?
Definitely generational. In terms of people of my own age range, they definitely swayed more towards Mamdani for the race, but my parents and people probably over the age of 40 were definitely very pro Cuomo and wanting to go back to a more traditional New York, because I think in their mind that stability that they were looking for, they wanted, since he used to be our governor, even though he did leave that position.
Well, is there anything else you want to add?
No.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Just a quick note, I've noticed a lot of the people who support Mamdani are eager to be on camera, but I want to note that we've spoken to two people who supported Cuomo who did not want to be on camera. My name's Megan, by the way. What's your name?
Allison.
Nice to meet you. And so what are your thoughts on this election so far?
Well, I was really happy that Mamdani made it where he has. And I think a lot of people, I think there was a lot of momentum to get there, and I just hope that that's enough to keep us moving in that direction. I know I've heard people even my age who've said things like he doesn't have experience, but I think, first of all, he does, and also he has the drive and the passion and the care for every New Yorker, it seems to me, or the ordinary New Yorker, the like working New Yorker that is like desperately needed. And I'm hoping that it seems like people have already shown their trust in that, like more than we expected, and I'm hoping that's enough to move him forward.
And what is your top issue as a New Yorker? What's the thing you care about the most?
Not giving tax breaks to billionaires, and I don't know what that means exactly in terms of laws here in New York City, but I just know that I've dealt with my shady landlord real estate property management company who I've never met face to face, and I have heard a lot of stories that just constantly reinforce how hard it is for the working New Yorker to survive and stay. And I think, relatively speaking, I'm pretty privileged to be able to live and work here, and there has to be better protection for working class New Yorkers.
What are some of those protections, like specifically, that you would like to see?
Well, there's affordable housing is a whole rabbit hole, and it seems like the rent stabilization and rent control is useful, but not necessarily the only solution, because it can be somewhat disproportionately beneficial to so few. And I'm not well educated enough to know exactly what the right answer is, but I think building new housing thoughtfully and carefully, and making that accessible to more people, because oftentimes the affordable units are actually not really very affordable, or you're required to have an income already above a threshold that many people don't reach.
Well, is there anything else you want to add?
Not right now. I'm a little frazzled.
Great, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hi, my name's Megan. How are you doing?
Hi, Megan. I'm good. How are you?
Good. And are you from the Upper East Side area?
Actually, no. I live in Long Island City.
Okay, cool. But you're still a registered New York voter? Or?
Yes. Mhm.
Great. So what are your thoughts on the New York City election so far?
Well, I have mixed views on it. To be perfectly honest, I feel that the mayor needs to be really strong and willing to fight for New York and what it stands for. So I don't necessarily believe that we need the nicest person, but I think we need the strongest person, strange as that might sound, if that makes sense. So I think we need someone who knows how to fight.
And who would that be for you?
I'm getting a little uncomfortable. I'm going to say Cuomo. Yeah.
Cuomo?
Yeah. Even though I don't stand for what he stands for, I still think he's the best choice. I do.
And what about him do you think says that he's like the strongest person to...
His background and how he's been in the past. And I do think he helped us during the pandemic, even though he did some things that were questionable, for sure. But I still think he did overall. He got us through it. And that's what I think is needed now.
Do you think that you'll vote in the general election?
Yeah.
Do you think that, let's say that there weren't other candidates running and it was Cuomo versus Adams, would you have a preference between those two?
Yeah, I'd go for it. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
What do you think about Zohran Mamdani, who is kind of leading in the polls?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I've heard so many mixed things about him, and I've also heard some that he doesn't have all that much experience, but he's from family wealth, I heard, and I did not know that. At least that's what I've heard. So I don't know how experienced he is, and then I have also heard some things that are sort of questionable about his character and things he said.
Like what kind of thing?
I don't think I want to go there.
Okay. Is there anything, what's the most important issue to you as a New Yorker?
Oh boy, standing up and keeping New York as strong as it can possibly be, and fighting and being for the people, for the middle class people.
When you say fighting, do you mean like fighting the Trump administration? I've heard some people say that. Or...
Yeah, that's what I mean. Standing up to it and not caving in, if that's possible.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I really appreciate it. Have a great night. All right, so we've been out here for about like 2 hours, and we're going to publish all the interviews that we got. I was sort of surprised that there weren't more Cuomo supporters around here, or at least people who were willing to talk to me. But maybe I'll come back here and we can get some more thoughts.